Hello champions and future champions. Hello ChessMood family. Gabuzyan is here with you and welcome to our daily lesson. Today we have a topic: how to fight against isolated pawn, what to do, and a very common strategy which some players are missing. Before continuing my thoughts, I will ask you to pause the video and decide what to play here for white. First of all, in a few words, let me tell you about the isolated pawn. It's separated from the other pawns, so it's lonely one, fixed by the opponent's pawn chain, and a good subject of an attack at the moment. Often, square in front of the isolated pawn is a great outpost. Black cannot bother our knight with any of the pieces, and it's a very common strategy to block this pawn. But many players ignore the fact that often trying to put as many pieces as possible in this pressure and taking the pawn is the best choice. Now, white transfers this knight from the central outpost to another square, the square where it will be attacking this pawn, and white's winning it. It happened knight e2. If black goes rook a d8, white can play knight f4. Now this pawn is gonna be lost. We have 3 attackers versus 2 defenders. If black goes here rook e5, in this concrete case it's losing another pawn on a7 because of queen d4 tempo, which is the double attack. After queen e8 we can take. Otherwise, after knight e2, if black goes rook e to d8 in order to keep this pawn protected, now after knight f4, black is not having enough resources to defend the pawn. It can be played king f5 and knight takes. So today we will see several examples that instead of blocking the pawn, we are going to attack and take it. Let's go ahead and see the next one. This is another position with isolated pawn. What's the thing? Even if we now triple up our heavy pieces on the d file, we will not be able to take it because there is the minor piece protecting the pawn. So how to deal with this is my question. You can pause the video and make your decision. Destroying the defender is another good strategy. Until white, instead of blocking this pawn with something like knight d4, can play bishop to e5 move, exchanging the knight and the pawn will be lost again. Something like rook c8, bishop takes back and queen is capturing the pawn, leaving white with an extra material. Let's now go ahead and we will see last example in this topic. This is an endgame where black has advantage of bishop pair, but at the same time has the isolated pawn. We need to decide how to continue this for white. You can pause the video and think about future ideas. As we have discussed previously, we are going to take this pawn. Now white has 2 attackers versus 2 defenders. We play bishop f3. Now we want to take the pawn and black's gonna play bishop f7. Often we are having an extra piece capable of attacking this pawn. What am I trying to say? Even though black has pair of the bishop, dark squared bishop can never protect this pawn. In the meanwhile, our knight will very quickly attack it. White goes knight e2 and threatens to take this pawn either with knight c3 or knight f4. Black cannot prevent both of these threats. After something like f5, white's going knight c3 and eventually winning the material. Before going to the homework, let's summarize the topic of today. Very common idea is to block isolated pawn, locate a piece in front of it. That sounds great, but as I mentioned today and we have seen in several positions, this pawn can be taken sometimes. First of all, we need to make sure whether we can take it or not, and if we're seeing it's successfully protecting, only then we can try to block it and use different strategies. Let's now go ahead and you will get your homework for this topic. Here it's white to move, and as we can see, opponent has isolated pawn on d5. How to deal with this? Are we gonna take the pawn or block it? is my question. You can share your thoughts and ideas in the comments section below. Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for your subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. I will see you next time during our next daily lessons.